BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
Indigenous and environmental leaders across Ecuador are raising serious concerns, reporting a significant surge in state-sponsored intimidation tactics as the nation approaches a crucial national referendum next month. This vote will determine the fate of the world's only constitution to explicitly recognize the rights of nature. The pressure is reportedly emanating from right-wing President Daniel Noboa, who has embarked on his second term with an agenda observers describe as Trumpian, focused on consolidating power and dismantling legal and social protections that currently hinder extractivist industries, particularly mining. President Noboa, the 37-year-old heir to the influential Noboa family business conglomerate, contends that the existing constitution is an impediment to his ambitious national security and economic development plans. These plans notably include proposals for a U.S. military base and extensive new housing and hotel complexes on the Galapagos Islands, a globally recognized UNESCO World Heritage Site and Biosphere Reserve. The referendum, scheduled for November 16, will decide whether to convene a constituent assembly with the authority to reform or entirely replace the current constitution. Such a move would strategically empower the president to exert influence over the Constitutional Court, the primary institution currently resisting his consolidation of power. Beyond this, the referendum will also address a series of other far-reaching proposals championed by Noboa, including a significant reduction in the number of seats in the Legislative Assembly, changes to party funding mechanisms, and the establishment of foreign military bases. This referendum represents the most contentious action yet by the president, who has already drawn considerable alarm through a series of legislative actions widely criticized by opponents as undermining vital environmental safeguards and democratic checks and balances. One such example is a protected areas law, which, despite its purported aim of enhancing environmental sustainability and conservation management, is viewed by indigenous groups as a calculated maneuver to circumvent their fundamental right to free, prior, and informed consent. Critics warn this legislation could pave the way for the privatization of protected lands and the expansion of extractive industries. Another piece of legislation, the National Solidarity Law, ostensibly enacted to bolster the government's capacity to combat organized crime, is now, according to observers, being weaponized to militarize public security and grant impunity for killings perpetrated by police and military forces under the guise of a war on gangs. Furthermore, a new intelligence law has bestowed unprecedented surveillance powers upon the administration, allowing for the interception of communications without the need for a court order. Concurrently, a public integrity law, presented as a measure to combat corruption, has reportedly been repurposed as a tool to suppress civil society organizations. The escalating tensions are reflected in mounting social unrest across Ecuador, a country grappling with one of the world's highest homicide rates. Rising food and diesel prices have further fueled public discontent, leading to an ongoing national strike. Tragically, just last month, Efren Thurs, an indigenous land defender, was fatally shot by the army during a protest against the escalating cost of living, a severe lack of essential medicines in hospitals, the deterioration of educational facilities, and pervasive social insecurity. Demonstrators are also expressing outrage over the freezing of bank accounts belonging to at least 61 civil society leaders and organizations, purportedly pending investigations into unjustified private enrichment by the Public Prosecutor's Office. A review of documentation reveals that over half of those facing these investigations are indigenous activists, many of whom are actively campaigning against mining operations. Another quarter are environmental defenders, with the remaining individuals comprising academics, journalists, women's rights advocates, and local politicians. Among the organizations under scrutiny is the Pachamama Foundation, which has issued a strong statement denouncing the actions, declaring an unequivocal rejection of what it terms a criminalization process and vowing to resist this attempted intimidation. These accusations surface at a time when Noboa's administration is already facing criticism for pushing ahead with mining projects previously halted by public consultations. Furthermore, the government is accused of inaction regarding the implementation of a 2023 referendum decision that mandated a halt to oil production in Block 43 of the Yasuni National Park, an ecologically vital area of the Amazon rainforest renowned for its extraordinary biodiversity. In a move that has drawn significant backlash, the president has effectively merged the Environment Ministry into the Mining Ministry. Alberto Acosta, who played a pivotal role in drafting the current constitution as the president of the last Constituent Assembly, lamented that we have the only constitution in the world that recognizes the rights of nature. All of this is being systematically trampled on by the government of President Daniel Noboa. The president does not want to respect the constitution or public consultation. Acosta views these developments as part of a broader global trend, influenced by leaders like U.S. President Donald Trump, observing that what is happening in the United States is encouraging many governments in Latin America, and in Ecuador in particular, to mobilize extractivist forces that are destroying the ecological balance and affecting indigenous communities. Concerns are mounting within the judiciary, with justices fearing the rule of law is under threat. In recent months, the Constitutional Court has served as the sole bulwark against presidential overreach, successfully delaying several of Noboa's attempts to curtail civil liberties and environmental protections. Following the justices' suspension of controversial security legislation in August, Noboa publicly denounced them as enemies of the people and incited protests outside the court. Over the past decade, Ecuador's highest court has set a global precedent with its rulings in favor of the rights of nature, most notably in 2021 when it declared mining permits within the Los Cedros cloud forest unconstitutional due to the threat they